everyone. My name is Adidayo Olumuyiwa. I'm a lecturer. I'm also an educational neuroscientist. I am the president of Dyslexia Nigeria and Africa. The acronym is DNA. Today I have something important, as usual, to discuss with my global audience members. And the title of this video is Dyslexia Therapy, 7 structured literacy-based ideas, for dyslexics. I repeat, the topic of today's video is dyslexia therapy. 7 structured literacy-based ideas for dyslexics or for dyslexic learners. This video it is important because I strongly believe that sharing this knowledge with school owners, with educators, with education students, with parents who are educated and who are sophisticated, this will go a long way to reduce the amount of dyslexic and struggling learners in our educational systems all over Nigeria and Africa. And it is also important for me to quickly chip in this, that today we are currently training school owners, educators, education students, parents, teachers, etc. There's a concept that we've introduced into the global education system. It is titled Masterclass in Educational Neuroscience. Okay, if you look at this is the course curriculum. It contains about 25 groundbreaking topics, everything that an educator, that a school owner needs in order to be able to solve every maybe specific learning difficulty, every challenge, maybe emotional regulation, dysregulation, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, behavioral kind of disorder, etc. has been covered. In fact, we have topics like how to handle slow learners and how to handle the neurodivergent learners in our learning environment. Neurodivergent learners like autistic, and we have some other topics that cover maybe learners and kids with developmental challenges like Down syndrome, like cerebral palsy, etc. If you know you're interested in this training, please just leave a comment. I would get across to you. So the topic once again is dyslexia therapy, 7 structured literacy-based ideas for helping the dyslexics, the struggling learners, the poor readers, etc. So the first question that I would like to address at this juncture is dyslexia. What is dyslexia? There are different definitions of dyslexia, but simply dyslexia is a neurological impairment. It is that brain-based kind of difficulty that hinders an individual, that hinders a kid, that stops a learner from acquiring reading proficiency. Sometimes it is unexpected, according to Professor Sally Shewitz of Yale University. So dyslexia simply, it is that difficulty that an individual encounters in the process of reading, in the process of acquiring a reading ability. Dyslexia is the number one specific learning disability that is hampering, that is besetting learners and students in the global educational system. And that is the reason why I said it is important for me to share the insights that I have regarding dyslexia, structured literacy, and other themes in the reading field. So what are the 7 ideas that an educator needs in order to be able to help the dyslexic learner, in order to be able to help the struggling learner or the beginning reader or the dyslexic reader himself or herself? So the first one is that teacher needs to understand what is called essential principles and practice. Today, there is a new concept in the reading field, and it is referred to, in fact, there are 2. The first one is called the science of reading, while the second one is called structured literacy. Decades ago, the leading theory, okay, of reading is referred to as the whole brain approach, okay, where students are encouraged to either guess, okay, or look at pictures, or there's one other kind of hack that is called the multiple cueing strategies. But researches upon researches, studies upon studies have shown that this is the technique of poor readers, and most times uh, if you imbibe or if you integrate that, it will hinder you from achieving okay reading fluency and comprehension. And that is why experts in the field have decided to push the concept of structured literacy. And structured literacy is a kind of an embodiment, or it is an offshoot of the science of reading. The science of reading really is a compendium, okay, an aggregation of data and evidence based on decades of research in the field of cognitive okay neuroscience. And the data is really showing that reading okay has a connection okay with the brain. We know that we are born okay to speak just because of our brain has been predisposed. Okay, there's a kind of preordination that naturally, if a child is born, if the child hears okay the sounds, okay maybe the mother, okay or the father or the family members talking, the child would definitely will just spontaneously pick up language. But it is quite different okay for reading. That reading needs to be structured, to be taught. So the first idea has to do with the fact that educators okay need to acquire the structured literacy approach to reading, and the steps okay must be explicit, must be systematic, and it must be atomistic, that the educator should not rush the pupils, the students or the learners. So the first idea has to do with the fact that you must have okay an understanding okay of the science of reading, and you must go through what is called structured literacy instruction. Then the number two idea for educators has to do with phonological okay awareness, that to be able to teach reading, that you need to understand the mechanics okay of phonology. And if you look at the word okay phonology, I think I have just like a schema here. Okay, phonology, phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, etc. Phonology simply okay is the study of sounds, but with regard to reading is the study of speech okay sounds. We know that in the English okay alphabetical system, we have about 26 alphabets and 44 okay sounds. So the knowledge of this would really help okay the educator to be able to really help his or her learners to acquire a reading proficiency. So for phonological awareness has to do with the fact that the teacher okay needs to do what to teach the students or his or her learners what is called okay letter sound relationship, that the symbols or the graphemes okay are simply symbols, and that behind them okay lies okay sounds. So what is simply called okay the letter okay sound relationship, or the grapheme phoneme relationship. And the more you do this and you discover that your learners, your kids, your students would do what? Would gradually okay be responding, and their journey okay towards reading acquisition is going to be steady and consistent. And then for the concept of phonological awareness binds incorporates two concepts. One is called the alphabetical principle. Okay, that children okay must know how to recite the ABC okay to Z, and they should also know that each of the alphabets okay contains a sound. There are some that contains okay combinations of sounds. For example, the letter A. The letter A also sounds like all, like in August, okay, or awesome or almighty. Everybody says okay A for apple, but A could also be for awesome, could also be for August, etc. And A could also be for aeroplane, or it could also be for air. So exposing this your learners, or maybe the beginning readers, exposing the struggling readers, the dyslexic readers, okay, to phonological awareness would go a very, very long way okay, to helping them in acquiring reading proficiency. Then the next one is a phonemic awareness. Okay, if a phonological awareness has to do with the big things, okay, the components of phonological awareness, okay, things like one, okay, the onset rhyme, okay, the nursery rhymes, like teaching them that, um, for example, if you use the word hat, okay, hat, okay, okay, hat. Or okay, let me even use the popular one. Okay, the cat. Okay, cat is spelled k a t. So all you need to do, teaching them the onset rhyme has to do with removing the C and replacing it, okay, with other alphabets. Like when you remove the C and you put P, it becomes p a t. Okay, and the pronunciation is pat. Then if you remove the P and you put M, it becomes a t. Okay, a mat. So these are just simple, okay, tricks, okay, simple ideas that are connected to phonological awareness. The other one has to do with uh, uh, maybe nursery rhymes like twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay, the twinkle twinkle, okay, is what is an example of a nursery rhyme. So the phonological awareness and phonemic awareness are basically connected to oral teaching. It is not related to print. When one takes or transport this knowledge to print, it becomes phonics. But we're going to really come to that. So phonological awareness has to do with or what is a phoneme? Let me start with the phoneme. A phoneme is just the smallest unit of a sound. For example, the cat that I told you, okay, the cat has three graphemes or letters, okay, the CAT. And then the phonemic awareness has to do with the fact that the C, okay, stands, okay, on its own, and it has what, a sound, which is k. Despite the fact that the orthography or the spelling or the letter is C, but phonemically, okay, it sounds K, the k sound, okay, represent the C, especially in cat. So phonemic awareness has to do with the fact that the teacher is expected to teach, okay, these are beginning readers, these are struggling readers, these are adult reader or dyslexic reader, that each of the alphabets, okay, contains, okay, unique sound. So that is, okay, phonemic, okay, awareness. That is a good example of, okay, phonemic awareness. And then it is important for me to quote, okay, two of the leading experts, okay, in the field of reading research. The first one is Professor David Kilpatrick. Okay, he was the one who said that we have a phoneme-based writing system, and if you struggle with phonemes, that is sounds, that each of the alphabets, okay, contains, okay, sound, you are going to struggle with reading. So the number one factor, okay, that leads to a poor reading, that leads to dyslexia, has to do with a phoneme blindness, what he called the phonological chord deficit. And then Professor Hollis Scarborough also said that phonological weaknesses underlie most reading disability. So it is important, okay, that educators, okay, acquire this knowledge, and that your competency, your understanding, okay, of phonological awareness, of phonemic awareness will go a long way to help your beginning readers, poor readers, struggling readers, and dyslexic readers. Then the next thing that I want to really share with us, the fourth one has to do with, there's a concept, okay, in structured literacy, that is called a RAN, okay, rapid automatized naming. Okay, it is the capacity of a child to see a word and to be able to decode that word. For example, if you've taught the child, okay, that cat contains three phonemes, so all you need to do, you can just you tell the child, okay, to fill in the gap. You write C, uh, then dash, then T. So you as soon as you do that, you tell the child that, okay, which phoneme or which alphabet is actually missing. So the child is expected k dash t. So the child is expected to start thinking, okay, which phoneme, okay, should I insert in that blank space. So as soon as the child says, okay, it is the R sound, okay, then the child is expected, you tell it, yeah, you're correct, that is cat. Okay, now if that is cat, okay, let us, I'm going to give you another one. Okay, I'm going to write C, then A, then I'll put a dash. Okay, which sound should I, the dash should contain which sound? It could be T. Okay, if the child says T, then you have to pronounce it for the child. You say k, t, then cat. But if the child says, okay, it is R, then you pronounce it, you help the child, okay, then car. Okay, these are little tips that are connected to the rapid automatized learning. Then another one has to do with you tell the child, okay, if I a, okay, a, n, then dash, what do you think I should add? The child, if the child says D, then it becomes ant. Okay, if the child says T, it becomes what? Ant. Okay, these are little okay tips that a teacher can actually use to teach these learners who are experiencing one kind of reading difficulty to the other. Then the next one has to do with vocabulary development. Okay, it is important for us to put at the back of our minds that expressive vocabulary and receptive vocabulary words, okay, are extremely important in a child's reading journey. You can just pick up a word, for example. Okay, let's even use, okay, for the sake of this video, let's use cat, for example. Okay, you have to define a cat for the child. Then apart from that, if the child knows a cat, okay, you tell the child what kind of food the cats, okay, love eating. Okay, you tell the child, okay, the features of a cat, that a cat has, okay, a head, okay, two eyes, okay, four legs, it is a pet, okay, it is a domestic animal because it is friendly, okay, to humans, etc. Okay, by using that word cat, you would have expanded and increased, okay, the child's what receptive vocabulary. And when the time comes for the child to maybe express himself, then the receptive vocabulary that the child already has, okay, with regard to cat, okay, will become handy. So these are tips that teachers can really use. Then the next idea has to do with what is called listening and reading comprehension. The listening comprehension has to do with the fact that the teacher can pick up what a the teacher can pick up, okay, a passage. Okay, he or she is expected to explain, okay, to read out the passage while the learners, okay, listen to him or her. And then the teacher is expected to explain the themes. The teacher is expected to bring out some academic vocabulary words. Okay, he or she is expected to explain it to them. Then he or she can call one of the students, okay, to read, okay, or he or she can actually tell the class, okay, to read it silently, or to, there's something called the choral reading. Okay, these are different ideas that a teacher can integrate in order to help these are learners, okay, achieve what is called a reading comprehension. And the concept has to do with I do, the teacher reads, you do, he or she calls one of the students or kids to read, and we do, okay, they're expected to do what? To read it together. Then finally, the seventh point has to do with a written expression. Okay, the written expression is very simple. If the teacher has really has decided to use the word cat, okay, for that day's maybe a teaching, okay, then the next thing the teacher needs to do is just to use that cat, since they've mastered it, to start to form little sentences, okay, what I call storylet, okay, or sentence development. One good example is you tell them to write this, that a cat is on the mat. And please don't use complex words. Okay, it is important for you to just restrict yourself to what I call the VC words, that is the vowel consonant words, or the C, okay, VC words, like consonant, vowel, and consonant, okay, words. Like, let me give you three examples. One, a cat is on the mat. A cat is a pet. A cat eats fish. So these are just simple sentences that you can guide the kids, okay, the learner, the beginning, okay, reader, the struggling reader, the dyslexic reader. These are tips that you can really introduce, and before you know it, the children, the kids, the learners, this dyslexic, the strong learners, etc., they would begin to pick up. So thank you so very much for your time. Please, there's something I just want to quickly introduce to you. Okay, this is the reading rope of the United States. It was developed in 2001 by Professor Hollis Scarborough, and this one was developed by Dr. Nancy Young. She's a Canadian, and she calls her own the ladder of reading. Our team at Edubrainix Africa Consulting Limited, we have developed one of the greatest innovative, okay, one of the greatest concepts, okay, that can guide every educator to help a beginning reader, to help a dyslexic reader, to help a poor reader, to help a struggling reader master reading. And it is called, look at it. It is the combination of all the ideas on reading, okay, out there. Apart from the reading rope and reading ladder, we have gotten ideas from some of the greatest and the leading institutions, okay, in the area of reading research, like the Yale University Center for Dyslexia and Creativity, that is currently being directed by Professor Sally Shewitz. We've gotten ideas from Stanford University. We've gotten ideas from the Center for Educational Neuroscience in the US. We've gotten ideas, okay, from professors, okay, at Harvard University, like Professor Jeff Littman, okay, Professor Nadine Gabb, and so many other professors. And it is based on these ideas, in conjunction with ideas from Orton Gillingham, okay, instruction for Linda Mood approach, etc. That is how we're able to come up with what the reading and writing staircase. Okay, the 21 reading rules and interventions. Every educator, every school owner needs this. It is the number one weapon for helping, okay, the diverse kind of learners in the to help them acquire a reading proficiency. So I'm going to really implore you to get your own copy. If you know you're interested, please just leave a comment. I will reach out to you. So thank you so much for your time. I shall see you in the next video.